Over the past 19 months, we've witnessed something truly remarkable in Washington. We've seen a governing party basically tune out the American people who elected them and aggressively advance an agenda that most Americans vehemently opposed. In fact, the more Americans spoke out against government takeovers, government-run health care, wasteful spending, and debt, the more Democratic lawmakers seemed to dig in. This is a pretty risky approach in a nation where the government, to quote the Declaration of Independence, derives its powers from the consent of the governed. It's also the main reason most people expect Republicans to do pretty well in the upcoming November elections. But Republicans aren't under any illusions. We know voters are primarily interested in stopping the government freight train and sending a message to both parties this November. They want all of us to know that we work for them, not the other way around. And they want us to do something about jobs, because chronic unemployment is not a second-tier issue. It's a national crisis. At the moment, nearly 15 million Americans are currently looking for work and can't find it. Another 11 million are working below their skill levels. Yet virtually every single piece of major legislation Democrat leaders in Washington have proposed over the past 19 months has made it either harder for businesses to hire new workers or retain the workers they already have. And now they want to make it even worse. Earlier this week, Democrat leaders who spent the past year and a half working tirelessly to expand the reach of government left town without doing the single most important thing they could have done for jobs. Too preoccupied enacting the rest of their agenda, they neglected to pass or even propose legislation that would prevent one of the largest tax hikes in history. As a result, at the stroke of midnight on December the 31st, every American who pays income taxes is set to get a tax hike that Democrats have had 2 years to prevent. The lowest income taxpayers will see a 50% increase in their federal income tax rate on their first $8,000 of income. Middle-class Americans will get hit hard at the worst possible time. Parents will see the child tax credit they've enjoyed for nearly a decade cut in half. Many young people with college degrees will see the deduction they get on their loan interest vanish. The death tax will rocket from 0% to 55%, meaning many Americans will soon have to hand over more than half of everything they have to the federal government before leaving it to their families. Hundreds of thousands of small businesses will get socked with a job-killing tax hike. And young couples will be penalized even more than they already are just for getting married. All of these changes would overturn provisions that have been the law of the land for nearly 10 years. And allowing them to happen at a time when so many are struggling makes no sense at all if you want to help the economy. Something even the president admitted in the past. That's why I proposed a bill last month that would extend current law and prevent any of these tax hikes from taking place. S. 3773, the Tax Hike Prevention Act. Unfortunately, Democrats weren't interested. In the final days of the session, they had other priorities. And whenever they were asked about this looming tax hike, they just blamed the Republicans. They said that Republicans will be to blame for some people getting a tax hike because we didn't think anyone should get a tax hike. Now, I don't get that either. The fact is, the best way to help individuals and small businesses and the economy is to give them all the certainty that their taxes won't be going up at the end of the year. But Democrat leaders in Washington appear to have other plans with your money. As the president recently said, and I'm quoting him directly, "I've got a whole bunch of better ways to spend that money." So after maxing out the national credit card on a failed stimulus bill and a government-run health care bill, they want even more. And that's why they are now holding middle-class Americans hostage in a pursuit of their foolish desire to tax America's job creators in the middle of a recession. It makes you wonder who they're listening to.